What up and welcome back to the channel. We are here with yet another tier list for you. I did a Psychopathic Records, various albums tier list a few weeks back. And yes, I was missing a bunch of albums. I went and looked, and sure enough, I'm missing some heat off that list. So I went and gathered up, to the best of my knowledge, the rest of the Psychopathic albums that I missed. And I missed damn near, or right around 30 albums. So that's what we're going to do this week. I appreciate all the love on these videos. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment, hit that little bell notification, and let's get right into it. We got a whole bunch of albums to go through. Everybody's asking me, where's AMB? Where's Boondox? Where's this album? Where's that album? I think this covers the rest of the Psychopathic albums. So let's get into it. Blood In, Blood Out, Axe Murder Boys, their debut album. This was after they won the Underground Psychos contest, right? PLC was the better group at the time, but A&B ended up winning. They were more juggalo. But Blood In, Blood Out, entirely produced by Mikey Clark. You know, they got a lot of hate at this time, and maybe rightfully so, maybe not. I don't know, but I didn't mind this album, and I still don't mind this album to this day. I think it belongs C tier. I think because of Mikey Clark's production, it really helped them out a bunch. Working with ICP and elevating their game. Go listen to the album Unforgiven Forest that they put out before this, and then go listen to this. Massive improvement. So yeah, I think Blood In, Blood Out belongs in C tier. And then they put out God's Hand. They left Psychopathic, came back. God's Hand, I'm gonna put that C tier as well. I think God's Hand is much better than Blood In, Blood Out. But I don't go back to it that much. And I think that album's entirely produced by Young Wicked. I think this is when Young Wicked really started getting into his groove. That during this era, God's Hand, his flow was switching up a little bit. Kind of a West Coast influence on that album as well. Bodies in the Hole, an EP that A&B put out. I never heard it. We got the never heard tier back up in here. Because as I was putting this list together, I was like, man, I haven't heard a bunch of these albums either. So, Body in a Hole, never heard it. And I don't have a hard copy of it. It's not on streaming. So if you have a hard copy of it and you're not looking to fucking charge me out the ass for it, let me know. I definitely want a copy of that. Garcia Brothers. I think they had left Psychopathic and came back again. And they put out Garcia Brothers. This is when like Young Wicked was really starting to become Young Wicked. But I still don't think it's as good as God's Hand. I think it's another C tier album. Like, they're good. It's just I don't go back to them all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Like, if they come on, I'm not mad. Vibe out to it. We playing. It's better than Blood In, Blood Out. Young Wicked's killing it on the production on here. Like I said, elevating their game again. But I just really like the rawness of God's Hand that they were doing at that time. ABK's Mudface. Didn't include it on the last one. I kind of ghost ranked it, but will officially rank it D tier. Yeah. I think, this album, yeah, it's just D tier. Not a fan. Jumpsteady's The Chaos Theory. First advertised in the Tunnel of Love insert. Finally came out, 2001, 2002? Maybe 3? Something like that. That was when Zug Island, everybody was on the label. I don't mind Chaos Theory, but I think this goes D tier. And I think I enjoy it more than Garcia Brothers and Blood In, Blood Out. Not quite as much as God's Hand. But I mean, the title track, Chaos Theory, is fucking fire. The posse track, Ninjas in Action, dope as fuck. I don't know. I don't mind it. I think C tier for Chaos Theory is the proper placement for me. And then we got the Master of the Flying Guillotine. I think the only song on that album I really fucks with is the one with Myzery. My Man's in Them. I think that's what that song's called. That's really the only song I fuck with on that album, but I gotta put it D tier. V Sinizter, Hunting Season. V Sinizter was a MC contest winner. 03, 04, maybe 05. I don't remember exactly what year. Won a one album deal with Psychopathic Records, put it out. Never heard it. And from what I understand, that shit is super hard to come by. Hard copies of that shit, mad rare. Probably one of the rarest Psychopathic albums. And also least sought after Psychopathic albums. Breed, The New Prescription. Rest in peace, MC Breed. This is when it's technically not Psychopathic. This was under the UMZ subsidiary, Urban Music Zone, maybe is what it was called. I remember it was UMZ. This album right here, MC Breed is fucking dope, man. And this album was a good album. Esham was on this album. I remember they had a video where Esham was in it. Tech Nine was in it. I think it got a little bit of radio play, a little bit of love on BET, MTV, and that sort of thing. But that's a good album. B tier, or maybe high C. No, I'll put it B tier. I enjoy that album more than any of the albums in C tier for sure. And the production on that album is fucking fire. Love Breed's voice, man. Breed's got a dope flow. Rest in peace once again. Someone had commented on the last Psychopathic video that I didn't put Esham's Acid Rain on here, on that list. So I figure, fuck it, I'll throw it on this list. Even though it's technically a greatest hits compilation, it does have, like 5 new songs at the end. So let's just count the 5 new songs at the end. The little EP, the pow, Migraine Headache, Redemption. I can't remember the other couple songs that were on there, but dope little EP. If we're just counting those 5 songs, I mean, the greatest hits part is what it is. Greatest hits, just bangers, right? It's like Esham's RLP stuff, like all bangers on that shit. But the 5 new songs that were at the end, produced by Mike E. Clark, I fucks with them. And I actually go back to them kind of often. I'll probably put that B tier. We're counting that little, we'll call it Acid Rain, the EP. You know, just those 5 new songs at the end. That Redemption with Sin on the hook, singing, is fucking dope. Love that shit. And yeah, I think B tier's proper placement for those, you know, for that shit. Super Villainz. This is an album I can't believe I forgot Super Villainz. Like, Super Villainz was mad hyped at the time. Fucking Lavelle ended up joining the group, and then it came out and ended up being some cartoon shit. It was okay. It's still okay today. I'll put it C tier. I'll probably put it above God's Hand. I probably like it better than God's Hand. I mean, there's some fucking dope songs. Like the solo Esham song on there. Black Panther or some shit like that. That shit is fucking fire. The Van. There's some bangers on that album for sure. But overall was kind of a disappointment, but C tier. Like, it's good, but and it's not bad, so C tier. That's what C tier is for. And then Killjoy Club, Reindeer Games, 3-6 Mafia, and ICP. Like, how the fuck do I forget this shit? I went and saw when they were touring on this album. I think that was during Missing Link era, right before it or right after it. The Mafia 6 was playing. I think Jelly Roll opened up on that tour too. But yeah, Killjoy Club, Reindeer Games. I liked it a lot more when it first came out, but I'll put it B tier. I'll put it above Acid Rain. The album's productions, mostly 7 or like split with Seven and DJ Paul. Koopsta's on this album. Rest in peace, Koopsta. And Young Wicked was on this album, even though he doesn't feature. People say Young Wicked ruined the album. I highly disagree. Like, this is like Slaughter era of Young Wicked, where he was killing shit. So yeah, B tier for Reindeer Games, Killjoy Club. I'd like to see a follow-up at some point. You know, Koopsta's gone now. The only surviving members of 3-6 are Paul, Black, and Juicy. So maybe we'll get a follow-up. Who knows? Three-Headed Monster, Obliteration. Newer release. Forgot it just because it's newer. I don't go back to it. You know, not that great. Not that good. I'll put it bottom C tier. The track Rubble is a fucking banger. I love the Mikey Clark remix that he did on there of that one song. The Ouija Mac solo tracks on there are fucking fire. Actually, you know what? I'll put it above the A&B albums. Actually, fuck it, right? Yeah, whatever. And then Three-Headed Monster Rampage. I actually like Three-Headed Monster Rampage better than Obliteration. Even though Rampage kind of sounds like leftover songs from Obliteration, I think overall it's better. So I got to put it ahead of it. Young Wicked Slaughter. We were just talking about this shit. Young Wicked's debut solo album. And I fucking love this album, man. I didn't... Like, if you look at the A&B albums right here, they're all C tier. Like, I always thought they were, they were good. But nothing like fucking mind-blowing or fucking like, God damn, this is some amazing shit. So I wasn't really expecting much from Young Wicked, even though his shit on Killjoy Club was like, oh, this dude's kind of leveling up. So when Slaughter came out, and it was a fucking surprise because it's a fucking S-tier album, Sipping on My Fifth is like my fucking jam on that album, man. I relate to that song so fucking much, man. I love this album. Feature Jelly Roll is on there. I think he might be the only feature on the album, if I remember right. Does Bones Dub make a feature on there? Fuck. But man, I fucking love this album. Not one skip on that album, and I firmly believe that's an S-tier album. His first two albums, if you go back and watch my M&E tier list, I put Prodigal Son S-tier. This is S-tier as well. Like, both are just, they're so fucking good. Big Hoodoo, Crystal Skull, never heard it. Big Hoodoo, Asylum, never heard it. Lyte, Psychopathic Monstar, never heard it. Now, with those guys, just based off features alone, just wasn't, I don't know, just nothing ever made me want to go check those albums. Really is what it boils down to. Boondox, The Harvest. He was also in the Underground Psychos contest as Turncoat Dirty. I think he made it first or second round or something like that. Didn't make the cut, but apparently Violent J loved his shit so much, ended up signing him at some point. After that, put out The Harvest, produced by Mikey Clark. The Harvest ain't bad, man. I've said it. I'm not the biggest Boondox fan, but some of his early shit, I kind of rock with. The Harvest ain't bad. I'll put Harvest C tier. I'll put it above Three-Headed Monster and all that in the A&B albums. There's some dope shit on there. The song 7 is fucking fire. Love that shit. When he plays that shit live to this day, I vibe out to it. There's some fucking bangers on there. Was another one? The one with Blaze and Twisted, Red Mist, I think it's called. That shit's fucking dope. There's some dope songs on that album, man. And then Punkinhed, the EP follow-up to The Harvest. He was actually getting a little bit better. I'll put that above Harvest in C tier as well. There was a few dope tracks on there that I was fucking with. Cover art's dope. And then Crimson Creek, his second album on Psychopathic. Personally, in my personal opinion, his best album. My personal favorite album from him. This shit is just so hard. Freak Bitch, and there's some fucking dope ass songs on there. But I don't go back to it that much. This falls in somewhere in between Super Villainz and God's Hands. Like those 3 albums right there, I fuck with them. If they come on, I'm not mad, but I just don't revisit them that much. But if there is one album that I go back to from time to time from Boondox the most, it would be Crimson Creek. And then I'm like, damn, I want to listen to that song on Harvest. I want to listen to that song on Punkinhed. So that you know, that kind of thing. And then South of Hell. I think I've heard South of Hell. I know I owned a hard copy. I must have heard it. I don't remember a fucking thing about this album. So I think it really is like never heard type shit. Maybe I heard it. Maybe I got through like 2 songs or something. But yeah, I'm going to put it in never heard category. And then Abbadon. Never heard it. Cold 187, The Only Solution. I have heard it. Woo! That's a fucking task to put up. And this dude's a fucking legend. Like, created the fucking G-Funk sound that Dr. Dre made popular. And they fucking said, hey, man, why don't you take, like, Murder, and all these classic psychopathic beats and make an album? They only set him up for failure with this album. Such a disappointment because this dude could have made a banger of an album. But by having him rap over classic psychopathic shit, could only be failure. And it was. Legs Diamond and the Purple Gang, 9 Pistolas. Never heard it. DJ Paul, Master of Evil. This album is a fucking banger. I'm going to put it A tier. Because I don't think this is DJ Paul's best shit. But it's a fucking dope album. He recently remastered it and put it up digitally and whatnot. There are fucking bangers. I love DJ Paul's production. One of my all-time favorite producers, 3 6 Mafia, one of my all-time favorite groups. Any of the subgroups, Tear the Club Up Thugs, Mafia 6, whatever else. DJ Paul is that fucking dude. Master of Evil was a fucking dope album. Very dark. And it was a perfect album to put on Psychopathic, in my opinion. Blase Rose, Broken, never heard. Myzery, Para la Isla. There you go. You got me saying it a fucking again. The full album. Now, I don't remember if I talked about the full album on the previous tier list, but it also came with, I'm going to Google this real quick. It came with a brand new album. I think it was called The Demon Inside. Something like that. I can't find it on a quick search, but they tried to pass this off. It was a double disc. First one was the Para la Isla. The second one was The Demon Inside. They tried passing off the first disc as what was going to be his original album on Psychopathic Records. Didn't work because it doesn't sound like it was recorded in 98 because they mixed in the original songs that were on the EP within it. They sound completely different. It sounds like Myzery of today. And they even tried throwing they tried even getting Shaggy to sound like he was in 98 yelling over one of these tracks. It didn't work. Or it didn't work in the sense that it was recorded in 98. Like, of course it wasn't recorded in 98. Because he didn't record that much shit in 98. But, that aside, dope album. Same with The Demon Inside, if that's what it's called. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But Myzery always been dope, man. The Red Eye, Bad Influence, Four Faces, all that shit. Myzery always been dope. And this, came out through Psychopathic. So I'm going to put this high C tier. I'm going to put this above Super Villainz. I highly enjoyed that first disc. Even though they tried passing it off as some 1998 shit, even though it wasn't, that shit was fucking dope. C tier. And then we got a few ICP albums that I forgot to put on the ICP tier list. So fuck it. We're just going to include it on this Psychopathic Records Part 2, we got The Pendulum. Now, this was a collection of songs that were released throughout the comic series that ended up taking like 3 years to fucking release or some shit like that. But The Pendulum as a full album from ICP, a bunch of shit that we heard before previously, kind of like a forgotten freshness, but it has Are You Wicked on it. I'm putting this shit B tier. Are You Wicked is one of the best ICP songs there is. Maybe top 20 for me. I love that shit so much. And because it's on that album, gotta put it B tier. And there's other fucking dope shit on there. The Amazing Maze. There was some solo Bullet and Full Clip songs that were released throughout the Pendulum series. They weren't included on the full Pendulum album, but I mean, you could burn the CDs and make it your own. But yeah. I think that shit belongs B tier. A lot of just classic ICP shit. And then we got the incredible collection Worthy of an Erection. I've never heard this. So B tier. I've recently obtained the files for this. So I plan on listening to it. From what I understand, this is kind of like a Forgotten Freshness 7, the incredible collection. So what I ask of ICP is repackage this album as Forgotten Freshness, because this was limited to the Gathering, maybe. It was a very limited release. Shit goes for like $200 now, something fucking crazy. It's a double disc of Forgotten Freshness worthy material, and I think they should repackage it as Forgotten Freshness 7 so I can get a copy of it. Again, selfish, but anyway. ICP's House Party Peep Show EP. This was put out during, the lockdown when they had the fans vote on song topics, beats, flow, and all that shit. And they ended up putting it out. It took a while, a little bit of controversy behind that. But this is probably the best thing they put out during the Yum Yum era, this House Party Peep Show EP. This was the very beginning of the Yum Yum era, but still part of the Yum Yum era nonetheless. And I'll probably put this B tier. I'll put it low B tier, behind everything else in B tier. There's a couple dope fucking songs on there. And they put a few bonus tracks on there as well. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the Psychopathic tier list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the little bell notey. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in for yet another edition of the tier list. We out. Until next time, peace.